look, you heard it there, that weird lead story in the ZB News, which I must add I have no editorial control over, that says some public health experts suggest that Shane Retty's lost his opportunity for mana, etc. And it's just more blah, blah, blah about the introduction or the banning, well, the non-continuation with the party of with the idea of a separate Māori health authority. And it's part of the 100-day plan, and it was policy from a coalition partner, so bang, there it is. But what gives it a little bit of an edge is that tomorrow the Waitangi Tribunal, for reasons known only to itself, and I guess Mikey Sherman from TVNZ, is launching an inquiry as to what is the inquiry? An inquiry that's going to say, we don't like the axing of the Māori Health Authority, and somehow going to suggest that it's part of the Treaty of Waitangi, though I don't think iwi had a health authority when they signed the treaty. I'd also add that this was the stick with which the press gallery tried to beat the Prime Minister with at his press conference on Monday. And he just said, we're a government, we're going to get on with governing. The Waitangi Tribunal can do what they want. But the Māori Health Authority is effectively gone, and one person who I imagine supports that and is pleased about that is the leader of the ACT Party, David Seymour, and he joins us by video link. Now, David, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Sean, and good to see you too.
All right, so is the Māori Health Authority, whatever it was called in Māori, and I don't know and don't remember, is it gone, effectively and legislatively gone as of today?
It should be. I mean, Parliament hasn't actually passed the final stage of the law. The debate went up to 10 o'clock last night, and it commences again at 9 a.m. this morning. So Parliament is sitting under urgency, and as soon as that debate finishes, which I suspect will be a few hours into this morning, then yes, legally, there is no more Māori Health Authority.
Okay, so literally gone by lunchtime, right?
If the debate closes in the first 3 hours, then definitely that's the way to put it.
All right. Now, you are all into efficient government spending, right? And no waste. That's one of your mantras.
I think I'm glad that's got through. That's absolutely what ACT stands.
All right. How then can we have a taxpayer-funded group like the Waitangi Tribunal, I imagine expending probably hundreds of thousands of dollars on an absolutely meaningless inquiry that, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out where they get the brief to do this. Are they setting themselves up as some sort of alternative government or legislative chamber? I mean, is this good use of taxpayers' money?
Well, let me first of all just try and be a bit fair to them. They were set up to hear from people who felt that the treaty had been violated, and throughout the treaty settlement process they've done a lot of good work over the last 30 years. They've managed to find ways to settle grievances over things that were clearly wrong, where land was wrongly taken in as far back as the 1840s and 50s. And as a result, I think we've become a better country. So that's, let's just give them a bit of fairness. Where that has got to is that they are now taking, appeals on all manner of things that arguably are not anything to do with the treaty, and ACT's Treaty Principles Bill would certainly define the principles of the treaty in such a way that we actually all have the same rights and duties. We don't go on forever divided by race. And I think the question you're asking, have they effectively set themselves up as a parallel judicial system or legislative system? Well, that's certainly what Te Pāti Māori seem to think. They tried to stop the debate in Parliament yesterday, saying that Parliament had to wait for the Waitangi Tribunal. Now, obviously, that didn't stop the debate because that's just stupid. Parliament is elected by the people and Parliament rules New Zealand. However, it's become clear that for a lot of people they are a kind of parallel judicial system or legislature or Parliament. That's completely divisive, it's duplication, and yes, it is a waste of money. We only had the Māori Health Authority because the previous government and Parliament said that there should be one. The people have decided that's not such a good idea. It's divisive, it's wasteful, and now the Parliament is getting rid of it. The Waitangi Tribunal does not have a role in being a kind of parallel court, and that's why the Māori Party, even though they believe that, weren't able to stop this debate and will not stop the Māori Health Authority being removed.
The other point to notice that Waitangi Tribunal's recommendations are not binding on the government in any regard.
Well, that's exactly right. They can be referred to in courts, and of course court findings can be binding on everybody, including the Crown. However, the Waitangi Tribunal itself is not, and that's why I think in this term of government there's going to have to be a re-look at why we have the Waitangi Tribunal, what its scope is and what purpose it serves. Now that most of the treaty settlements, which we all agree needed to happen, are completed. There's still one for Ngāpuhi, the big tribe up north, but once that's done, I don't know if we want to go on forever as a country with this.
Are you talking about potentially, are you raising the possibility of disestablishing the Waitangi Tribunal?
Well, there may always be, the idea of having so first of all, no is the answer to that, because the idea that there will always be a treaty and there will always be some people who say, well, that settlement hasn't been carried out, or this thing or that is not right. I think that having such a tribunal to settle treaty matters might be a good thing for New Zealand. But then there's the question of what does the law say its scope is? And I think at the moment it's taking a very wide view of its scope. It's producing a lot of reports that don't mean much and that don't actually help us get anywhere, while getting up the hopes of a group of people that they have a parallel parliamentary system. So I'm not saying we should get rid of it because, for one thing, we've still got that Ngāpuhi settlement to go. But what I do think is that it needs to be put back in its box and have a remit that is not trying to make it almost like another Human Rights Commission, a sort of parallel political entity.